Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, veuillez accueillir, please welcome Alex Dayon en conversation avec In Conversation with Éric Chaniot.
So we have a bad news for all of you, okay? We both speak French and we don't speak Québécois, okay? So we'd like to apologize to that to begin with. So before we start, a quick introduction. So my name is Éric Chaniot. I'm the Chief Digital Officer at Michelin. And I have the pleasure on stage to have Alex Dayon. So Alex is president of Salesforce.com and also is the Chief Strategy Officer. So the first question I have for you, Alex, is that, so we talk about mobility, we talk about sustainability. Why did you decided to come, right? Why?
Why Salesforce at Movin'On? Well, it's thanks for the first question, Eric, and thanks for having us at Movin'On. Great conference. Super excited to be here with the Michelin family, and for me, the Movin'On is completely aligned with some of the core themes at Salesforce. The first one is obviously we believe that business are platform for change. And I think Movin'On is more than just business. It's really about the world that is changing around us and our mobility and sustainability are opening new doors for our businesses. So it was clearly very natural for us to be a partner and be part of this event. The second part of the event is obviously the mobility. And the fact that we're living in the fourth industrial revolution, everything is changing in front of us, and mobility is probably the first of the experience we're having on our daily life that is really being disrupted by technology. The way we move is completely different today than even 5 years or 10 years ago. And for Salesforce, as a technology platform, we're obviously providing a lot of technology that is powering those mobility experiences. So the two combined was a very logical. When you call me and say, will you be on stage with me? I say, of course, I'll be delighted to be here in Montreal with you today.
Thank you. The second question I have is that, and it's changing every day, but you have more than 150,000 customers. Give us some examples specifically on the mobility field, how some of your customers, they are transforming mobility by using digital technology. Give us some example of that.
So mobility is changing a lot, and probably some of you in this room are Salesforce customers, so I'm grateful for that, and I want to thank you for being customers. I want to thank you for being a customer, Eric. You've been a customer for a long time. For those of you who don't know Salesforce, what we do is we are the #1 CRM, which is really help companies connect with their customers in a whole new way, whether you're a B2B business or a B2C business. So we really provide platforms and applications that can really power every step of a customer experience, from marketing, sales, commerce, customer service. And the goal is obviously for you to put your customer in the middle of those experiences and put AI at work. So that's in short what we do as a business, and we are a very successful business doing that because CRM became, over the past couple years, the #1 IT spending. In fact, today there is way more money spent in CRM than any other application for information technology for one single reason, which is today the most precious asset in our hyper-connected world is the customer. Your customers, when they're connected to your business, you need to keep them, you need to value them, you need to develop new business model, and the CRM is kind of the motherboard of those initiatives. So to answer your question, now we just described what is Salesforce for those of you who don't know Salesforce. With so many customers, we obviously have been selling Salesforce to a lot of companies involved in the mobility field, whether they are OEMs or car manufacturers of all sizes, whether they are like Michelin providers of components of mobility, like the tires, but also to a lot of emerging companies in the mobility field, like the ride-hailing services, like companies like Uber, are customers of Salesforce. So we've seen a very broad panel of companies. And there's really two levels of usage in mobility. There are customers who are coming to Salesforce just because they want to optimize their business process. They want to do better marketing. They want to do better sales. They want to do better customer service. Usually customer service is kind of the common theme across every customer. Everybody has a call center and a customer service and need to take care of customers. That's kind of the layer 1, which is really process optimization. And the second aspect of, actually we have a couple of slides, so I'll skip on the slides. I forgot to click on the slides, that's okay. The second thing is there is another layer happening, which is really the transformation. It's not about optimization, but mobility is redefining a lot of business model because the world is shifting. And one of the big trends is obviously urban mobility. As you know, in the next 20 years, 60% of the world population will be in cities, which means that the future is not like the past. The future of mobility is not selling more cars, because we can't just put more cars in cities. And now we see all those different alternative ways of moving around, from scooters, ride-hailing. I mean, all those things are shifting, but there is something very unique happening across each and every experience you have. Behind each and every mobility experience, there is a customer. And the customer needs, the bar has been set by the best players in their industry. If you take Uber, you have Uber on that slide. They're setting the bar for what a good mobile app is. Right. And everybody needs to run that race. And customers are coming to Salesforce because we provide all the technology to help you run that race. We take care of the complexity of what makes those seamless customer interaction, from marketing, acquiring new customers, delivering those mobile apps, servicing those customers, connecting their devices to those customers. So a lot of companies are transforming their mobility experience through platforms like Salesforce and creating this new value proposition. There is another customer on that slide I'd love to mention, which is Tesla. Tesla is a fantastic company in a sense that they have completely reinvented the whole cycle of how a customer lives around the car. From buying the car, you buy online, you do your trading online from your phone, you actually get delivery of the car from your phone. There is no key, you show up with your phone in the delivery center and you just open the door of the car with your phone. And then if you have a problem, you call the customer service from the car, and it's all done through the cloud. So it's a completely cloud-based, 100% customer experience around the connected car. So these are examples of amazing Salesforce customers.
Okay. Okay, the other question I have for you, so you have car manufacturers, you have tire manufacturers, you have, mobility service providers that are delivering service. So what's going on inside the cities? Because I know that you have been talking to more than 20 cities. What are the big challenges or opportunities that you see for cities?
So I think regarding cities, I think we have a little slide that shows, let me click quickly. I think what's very exciting is Salesforce has been selling a lot of technologies to pretty much every operator that operates mobility in the city as a CRM vendor. And what
on silos.
On silos, okay. For different series of reasons. And what we really see happening is pretty much those silos replicate the same data. As a user, you pay your ride-hailing through one app, you pay your bus through another app, you pay your scooter for a third app. Those actually experience, and you route your experience through a third app, often Google Map or Apple Map, but you kind of have all those disjointed experience, and somehow you have a lot of data that are actually managed in silos but are not connected together. And cities are actually customers of Salesforce. We have a lot of cities who use Salesforce primarily for their call centers. In the US, every city has a number called 311, which is basically the city services. 911 is emergency services, and 311 is the city services. And it's basically a one-stop shop for everything you want to do with the city. All those 311 runs on Salesforce. But when we talk with the cities, one of the big challenges for them is this transformation of mobility is actually huge for them, because suddenly the whole world is shifting, where they see all those operators using the city infrastructure with no digital connection whatsoever with the city infrastructure. And the city is really starting, a lot of cities are really starting to rethink about, okay, we invested a lot in our physical infrastructure. We have roads, we have garbage, we have meters, but what about the digital infrastructure? Because every traffic light, every meter, everything is connected. In fact, everything should be a way to connect way more the different businesses. And the cities are really have two facets in the way they operate. One is B2B, which is really how do you regulate, operate, optimize the different operators in the city? How do you let the ride-hailing, the scooters, the taxis, the buses, how you let all those people operate? You need a platform to do that. That's one part of the challenge of the city going forward, which is you really need a digital platform to manage your B2B side, which is regulating your mobility. The second part is obviously the B2C part. How do you enable every citizen to be able to navigate the city through their phone, because the phone is becoming today the way you interact with any businesses. So we see a lot of initiatives started. Myself, I've been working the last past 12 months with 20 cities about this digital transformation and this vision that a city is also a digital infrastructure. And we have obviously a lot of very exciting technology to power those digital experiences.
And you said that they have 3 common challenges in each of the cities based on the 20 you talked to. They seems always to have the same.
So the business problem is interesting because obviously before you do anything in a city, you need to solve a problem. And the problems are really threefolds that technology can solve. And depending of the city officials or the country or the region, those problems may be in different order.
Okay.
But overall, from all the work I've done myself and with partners, we really see 3 themes that are emerging, that are driving that digitalization or the smart city vision. The first one is, of course, optimization. The city population exploding, you need to be able to regulate. You need to be able to make sure that every asset in the city, and by asset I mean the curb. Today, the curb used to be monetized by a meter. You park your car, you pay for the usage of the little 3 or 4 meters of curb space, and that's how it's monetized. In fact, it represents, in most cities, about 50% of their revenue is parking fees and tickets.
So when the cars disappear,
when the car disappears, what do you do with that curb? And also you need to optimize the usage of it, because in some times of the day you want the curb maybe to be more expensive, or you want the curb to be used only by ride-hailing, or you want the curb to be only used by buses. And with digital, you can actually have a multi-purpose curb. You can have an API that says available, not available, to be used by this service or this not. So optimization of core city resources is usually the number 1 driver, which is how do we make sure we optimize the lanes, the curbs, the traffic lights. How do this become smarter? The second big theme for the smart city we see is monetization. We just touched on that, which is it's kind of connected, but it's never in an interesting way. We're coming from the business. City officials don't think monetization first. Monetization is important.
First.
They see optimization and the quality of the community first. But optimization, monetization is important because you just touched on it. The future is probably not more cars in city, it's more shared cars, which means that the current monetization model will have to shift. We'll have to shift to the new usages. And those usages are mostly powered by digital platforms. So you need to rethink your monetization and payment strategy within the city infrastructure to be more connected.
So for example, one day I could be in Montreal and I could have an app, which is the Montreal app that will cover all the mobility services.
Exactly. So basically, and here you're going at the technology level, which is clearly our vision, and why Salesforce in that discussion is Salesforce has a technology called Mulesoft, and Mulesoft is an API platform. So basically Mulesoft enables to open your business and every asset, everything you're doing through a form of an API that you can manage, you can authorize, you can open source, you can control, you can throttle. So you basically can manage all the APIs, which are basically the calls you can make to a computer or an application in the cloud.
And Alex, if I may, an API, it's like a Lego, right? We all played with Legos. We all saw the kids playing with Legos. And the kids, they're able to build whatever they want because engineers, they think about the interaction about all these blocks.
Exactly.
API is a fancy word for Lego version of digital, right?
It's a building block of any experience, and basically a mobile app is just a series of API calls. When you pay, you call a payment API. When you do e-commerce, the shipping API. So you just use services. And basically, cities are becoming APIs themselves, a curb, a meter, a traffic light. They today can be API. They are actually all connected. So if you start exposing those APIs to the community and control who can see what, there's obviously a lot of security and data protection and regulation baked into the platform. Well, suddenly your city becomes an app store. The big idea is if a city is now a digital infrastructure that is surfaced by APIs, the city itself becomes an app store. This app store can be used by mobility providers, by car manufacturers, because when you park your car could be paying for your meter. The car knows where you are. It has a GPS. Actually, the car is very smart today. There's tons of chips and computers, and the car can do a lot of things on the cloud. So if the city provides an API, the car could be checking in and say, hey, I want to pay, I'm parked for 2 hours, or I'm dropping. So you can do a lot of things where you start connecting all those services together. But it starts by having, and it was a big theme in this conference, having either open data, open APIs, but having the clarity that the future of cities is not just the physical infrastructure of the city, but it's also the digital infrastructure of the city that is an ecosystem. It's an app store. You could think app store. A city becomes a big app store where everybody can plug. Some people use the word operating system for the city. It's kind of the same concept. It's becoming a digital ecosystem of services you can connect to. And for us, it's obviously very important because it enables to connect all our customers to one common ecosystem. And I think conference like Movin'On, I think you're doing a great job to put all of us as an ecosystem in the room because it's through those interactions. I mean, today we've been able to talk with a lot of different mobility providers, actors, technology providers, system integrators, because we're all together into solving that problem. And I think at the end, I've been myself involved in a couple of city applications. I want to touch on the fact that there is no one-fits-all application. That's why the App Store is so important, because all of us have a different expectation. We want to use this infrastructure differently. And in some cities, we've built mobility apps which were really designed to help you pick a multimodal way of going from point A to point B. It's often something cities want to put together, which is how do I help the citizen to know what are the best way to go from point A to point B. And when you do focus group, the first thing that surfaces from the users in the city is we're all different. You may want to travel in comfort. You do. So you're kind of guy, when you're on Uber, you pick the black car because you like luxury and money is not an issue or carbon footprint for you is not an issue. That's one population. Some people say, well, price is best. I'm going to do a shared ride or I'm going to take the bus. But a third group say, no. For me, it's not price, it's not comfort, it's carbon footprint. I want to be responsible when I move around. I bike, I scooter, but I'm kind of a different type of user of the city. So we're all different, and we actually, even if we have one preference, sometimes we change our mindset during the day. And I think that's where connecting all those actors together is very powerful, because there is not one optimized way from going to point A to point B. There is a lot of options. I think that's what's exciting about technology. We're creating not only a lot of options, but a lot of opportunities for businesses and also a lot of jobs, which is the last big topic for us, which is today we see just in the Salesforce ecosystem only, we did a survey in the next 3 years, 3.3 million jobs are going to be created on digital platforms, which are not developers, people working in call centers, people working in marketing, digital marketers, e-commerce. I mean, there's tons of amazing new jobs that are surfacing through those digital experiences, because behind each of those experiences, there is obviously a lot of people working to deliver those killer experiences.
Okay, so your vision is that, and we saw the mayor of Montreal this morning, in a year from now, we could have an app store on Montreal, and then what's interesting is that, so the city is at the center.
Yes.
The city becomes a digital platform and is at the center of the mobility ecosystem. And that's a way, I'm sure, for them to monetize and to be able to...
So I like to react on that. I think, and that's actually a good segue. Here we talk about the architecture. In fact, the citizen is at the center.
The citizen.
I think it's very important that whatever you do in technology, and that's often a mistake we all make when we build products. We are engineers by training, most of tech people. You're a CDO, you're an engineer by training. So we tend to think system, companies, city. But at the end of the day, what makes a great experience and a successful service is to put the citizen at the center. So at the end of the day, it's really about delivering the right experience and the right value proposition. So clearly, the idea and what we're doing here is an example, a graphic, where when you put the citizen at the center as a mayor, suddenly you realize you have all those different things you can offer through an app store. You can offer a lot of services through a digital platform around the citizen at the center.
Okay. So now, the next topic is artificial intelligence. So
Yeah.
you have been investing heavily on artificial intelligence, your tech company. I think that for traditional companies sometimes, people, they don't feel super comfortable. But, there is all the dreams that AI is going to replace, people, and that's not the vision we have inside Michelin. But what's your view on artificial, what do you try to achieve, on artificial intelligence?
So AI is kind of it's obviously a broad topic, but I'm going to talk about how we look at AI and what's our strategy at Salesforce around AI. We have a platform called Einstein, or Einstein, depending you're in US or in Europe, Einstein or Einstein. So our AI platform is Einstein, but AI is kind of a logical evolution of the cloud. What the cloud brought to customers like Michelin is unlimited compute and unlimited storage. You basically now have access to the cloud and platform like Salesforce to pretty much an unlimited processing power. And AI is not new. AI has been around for a long time because AI is just a field of statistics where you basically learn from data and you create model to basically create a probability of the future. When a vision on AI is basically, statistically, I think this is someone or a car, but it's basically statistical model you apply to new data sets. So AI is not new, but AI now is possible because of the cloud. Okay. AI is possible because we can process a vast amount of data. And of course, AI is really two things. Either you have data scientists that build your AI app for you,
and there is a shortage on that.
And there is not enough data scientists to build enough AI applications. So for Salesforce, what we really did with Einstein was to really a strategy to make AI available for the non-data scientists. Okay.
Really, even me?
Even people like yourself can become smarter through Einstein. And how do we do that? So how do we look at that? Well, it's very simple. It's really making Einstein as a platform. So first and foremost, on Salesforce, you can build, through the Salesforce platform, AI apps through point and click. You can create objects in the platform and say, this field is a predictive field, and it's going to learn from your data and field itself automatically. Behind the scene, there is AI on AI. In fact, behind the scene, there are 6,000 different AI algorithms. There is obviously AI that fine-tunes the system, but the goal is to enable everybody to become smarter or to embed AI in their business process and leverage their data through predictive model. The second thing we've done is at Salesforce, we have apps, out-of-the-box apps for marketing, commerce, sales, and we have AI everywhere out of the box. So basically, every product you buy with Salesforce is powered by AI. I'll take just an example, which is we have a product called Marketing Cloud. So Marketing Cloud is a marketing platform. It basically sends messages and emails to prospects or customers. We are the largest marketing platform. We send about 3 billion emails a day for our customers, just to give you a sense of the volume of traffic we're generating. So all the emails you receive of your favorite brands, Adidas, Louis Vuitton, whatever brand you love in the room, it's coming from the Salesforce.
The Salesforce
on those brands, it's coming, 3 billion of them with a B, going from Salesforce. On Black Friday, we sent 15 billion. So that's obviously a peak day for us during the year. But those emails are actually sent through predictive send. There is models that are built where those emails leave the data center at the time of the day that is the most optimized for your email address to open it. We basically know when you open your emails. And Éric, for example, yourself, you always wonder why at 9 a.m. you get your email from some vendors you like.
Right?
It's because AI behind the scene has built a model that Éric is in front of his computer at that time, and we know he opens his email or he responds to text at that time. So we fine-tune those engagements to make sure we maximize the exposure of a campaign. Another usage on B2B of AI is, for example, when you use Salesforce to manage your sales. So you have your opportunities, you have your customers. So you're selling, for example, tires to a mining company. You have opportunity to sell to new customers. Well, at Salesforce, when we do our forecast for the quarter, we don't ask our salespeople to forecast. In fact, we don't even pay attention to their forecast. Mark loves to say there's an empty chair at the table called Einstein. We actually do it through predictive. So we use AI to predict our sales by learning from the past activity of sales. And it is usually 2% accurate on our results. So that's the level of accuracy you have with AI. So, and then obviously, we're able to score every opportunity with 5 stars, like a Uber driver, where we know what are the opportunities that are statistically correct and the ones who are incorrect, and we can tell why, and we know what to do to optimize the conversion. So my message here is, at Salesforce, we really view AI as something that is everywhere, that is powering every experience. And our job is to make sure that AI is in the hands of people who are not data scientists. If you're a marketer, you can do a lot of AI with Salesforce, not having to learn predictive model. And if you want to build an app, if you're a developer, you can just point and click and use our AI libraries to use. So we're really empowering a broader group to use AI technology to power the world, because this is now clearly baked in each and every interaction.
So you want to democratize AI to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's great, because a lot of people, it's kind of complex AI, but that's a great way for us to leverage that technology.
And it's really, to conclude on that, it's also, I think, part of the world that is opening in front of us for Salesforce. Is, as a tech company, we're obviously very mindful that the big question you just raised, are you guys going to destroy jobs? In fact, no. I was 2 weeks ago, I was at Tech for Good with President Macron in France, and a recent study showed that technologies are right now creating more jobs. And every industry where they did the study, like retail, of course, stores are closing. So the jobs are being shut down in stores. But you know what? Online is booming, and there is new jobs being created. And those jobs are different titles. They call digital marketer. They call sales operation managers. They're called e-commerce merchandiser. There are new jobs. And those jobs are not developers' jobs. They are jobs that a lot of people can do if they have the right training. So we do believe, as a tech vendor, that the most important thing we can do today is to invest in education, to train a broader group, because we think those jobs is a fantastic platform for more equality. Technically, a lot of companies are struggling with equality, gender equality, diversity, and I think we are in front of us, we have the technology to enable a much more diverse group of people to join the workforce or to reskill the existing. And that's also a very important theme for us as the world is shifting. New experiences are raising, new jobs are being created. We invested into online learning platforms that are available and free for anyone, called Trailhead, because we believe we're really a platform for creating a very different future, more diverse, more vibrant, and more jobs. So it's a very exciting time for us, actually.
Thank you very much, Alex. Please join me to applaud Alex.
Thank you, Éric, for having me, and thank you for being here.
And last word, there is a Lego smart city on the Salesforce booth.
I forgot. We have actually a real life city, which is a Lego city that flew from Paris in a box. But it's all on API, so it's a connected Lego to the cloud, and you can experience that on the Salesforce booth.
You can play with it.
So you can play with Legos if you're tired of the day. You're welcome to the Salesforce booth. Thank you
very much. Thank you.